here's everything you need to know about Florence Price. Price was a composer of the modern era, having been born on April 9, 1887 in Little Rock, Arkansas, to a dentist father and music teacher mother. She showed a real talent for music at a very young age by performing her first piano recital at age 4 and writing her first piece of music at age 11. She was also incredibly bright and graduated from high school at age 14, then immediately attended the distinguished New England Conservatory of Music in Boston. Despite being made to feel uncomfortable as a black student at NEC, Price graduated from the school in 1906 with honors, a teaching certificate, and an artist's diploma in organ before heading down to Atlanta to begin teaching at the historically black Clark University. While teaching at Clark, Florence met a lawyer named Thomas J. Price, who actually had a practice back in Little Rock, and the two quickly fell in love. Florence married Thomas in 1912, and the two moved back to Little Rock together, forcing her to leave her teaching position at Clark and bringing about a hiatus in her composing. In Little Rock, Florence would have 2 daughters, but during the 1920s, a series of lynchings and the rise of Jim Crow laws shook Little Rock, and the family ended up moving to Chicago to escape the violence of the South. In Chicago, Price quickly became a participant in what became known as the Chicago Black Renaissance, and became friends with many other great black artists and leaders like Frederick Douglass, W.E.B. Du Bois, Langston Hughes, Katherine Dunham, and Marian Anderson. Price once again started writing music and published 4 pieces in 1928 alone, while also returning to a handful of schools in Chicago as a student. In 1931, after years of dealing with her husband's abuse and his constant financial troubles, the two divorced, leaving Price a single mother to her 2 daughters. To make ends meet, Price composed commercial music like radio advertisements and played as an organist for silent movie houses. During this time, she also moved in with her good friend Margaret Bonds, who was a really talented musician and composer herself. In 1932, both Price and Bonds achieved national fame when they came in first and second respectively for the Wanamaker Prize for Composing. Price's piece, her Symphony in E minor for organ, was a real hit and even inspired the Chicago Symphony to ask her to orchestrate the piece for full orchestra. The CSO gave the piece its world premiere on June 15, 1933, making Florence Price the first black woman to ever have a piece played by a major orchestra. Price went on to write a bunch more works for a wide variety of ensembles throughout her life and had many pieces that achieved wide acclaim, including 4 symphonies, 3 piano concertos, a violin concerto, and a series of songs for her close friend Marian Anderson. But despite her incredible talent and long list of important compositions, following her death in 1953, Price's works began to fade into obscurity, almost to the point of being completely forgotten about by audiences that were craving wider and more contemporary music. After increased interest in her work in the late 90s and early 2000s, however, a lucky break for humanity occurred in 2009 when a large collection of Price's manuscripts were found in an abandoned home in St. Anne, Illinois, including copies of her lost 4th Symphony and 2 violin concertos. Thankfully, in the last decade, Price's works are being performed by American symphony orchestras more and more and are finally starting to get the attention and recognition that they are worthy of. And that's everything you need to know about Florence Price.
PSO Education Everywhere is sponsored by Machias Savings Bank. As one of the oldest and most firmly established community banks in Maine, Machias Savings Bank believes that life in Maine is exceptional and that your banking relationship should be exceptional as well. To learn more, visit machiassavings.bank. Our thanks to Machias Savings for sponsoring the inaugural season of Education Everywhere.